Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Ellie Cat Creations. How are you? Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have yet to do so. And if you get anything from my work, a connected dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, artwork to create, please consider supporting my work. All the links will be at the bottom of the description of this video. Alley Cat Creations 211 is where you can find all the fantastic artwork I do and make. Almost done. That ear looks real. We're getting there. Um, I do commissions. I do paintings and paintings. I do a lot of things. So if you're interested in any of my artwork, I saw that, Spirit. Please consider looking at my portfolio on my website and email me if you're interested in any of it, because I do everything privately. Also, 3D memberships is a really great way to contribute to this channel. And I will be upping a tier incoming for the 4-year anniversary. When I have a breath of fresh air and I'm not behind on everything in my life, I will be uploading and doing a little bit more content for channel members, the 14 of you. Things keep shifting, but that's okay. I'm just trying to keep myself afloat somehow. So please consider looking at that. You guys get free entries into raffles, and I do hour-long, once a week, if I can, Oracle messages for you. I might be doing some private paint and sips or doing some work. Who knows? There's a lot of things I am planning in the future. It's just getting it done and making it make sense. So please consider supporting and joining. Today I'm going to read the Oahspe book, Book of Jehovah's Kingdom on Earth. We're getting semi close to the end of this book. Who knew? But I'm going to lead off on chapter 6, The Covenant of Brotherhood. Now, when Tay and his hosts had made the covenant with Jehovah, behold, the voice descended upon Tay by entrancement, while the holy angels of the God of heaven and earth, and he said, Whosoever choose me, I choose in return. Whosoever serve me, I serve in return. Alike unto like, created I the adaptation of angels and mortals. As ye have drawn a corporal circle around my kingdom, behold, my holy angels have drawn a spiritual circle around you. As ye have dictated to me, so do I dictate to you, to serve you in holiness and wisdom by angels from the throne of my God. As much as ye have come to raise up my little ones, I will come to you through my angels and raise you up also. As ye make my little ones wise and useful, and to rejoice in their lives, so will I minister unto you. As ye are covenanted unto me against war, and to establish the practice of peace on earth, so will my hand be over you in this my kingdom, both on earth and in heaven. And as much as ye are come to find my kingdom on earth, even so have I opened the kingdoms of the second resurrection in heaven unto you. Proclaim it in the east and west and north and south, my kingdom is founded on earth. The voice departed, and then Tay, in his own wisdom, faced to the east, and he said, hear ye, O mortals and angels, Jehovah's kingdom is founded on earth. Then Tay faced to the west, saying, hear ye, O mortals and angels, Jehovah's kingdom is founded on earth. Then Tay faced to the north and said, hear ye, O mortals and angels, Jehovah's kingdom is founded on earth. Next Tay faced the south, saying, hear ye, O mortals, angels, Jehovah's kingdom is found on earth. And Tay made the sign of the circle twice cut, and his hosts answered under the sign Jehovah's dawn. And now the light of Jehovah came upon Tay, and of his own accord he said, without a covenant of brotherhood, behold, we are like an unorganized school without a teacher. As Satan, in the management of his soldiers for the war purposes, hath demonstrated the advantage of power through discipline. Let us be wise in the Father's kingdom by discipline also, but in peace and righteousness. Unity cannot be achieved but through order and discipline in rites and ceremonies and words. Power is obtained more by concerted oneness of purpose than by anything else under the sun. For which purposes let us become organic for the founding of Jehovah's kingdom on earth, so that henceforth we shall be a unit before the world, guided by Jehovah to the single end and establishing a community that can practice his commandments in full. And though we may fail in some measure, let us remember the generations we are raising up shall have more advantage and practice, and their successors shall also advance still higher. Ultimately, all the world shall obtain to peace, virtue, plenty, and wisdom. Already are we covenanted to live our all highest life and practice it. How then shall we become organic and still have no leader or overseer? The highest wisdom in the state or in a community is not with the majority, but with the small minority. The highest wisdom, which is the highest light, should guide the individuals and the community and the state. Now, therefore, let us divide ourselves into groups of 10s, and each group shall select its wisest men as speaker, and his title shall be chief. And let the chiefs be a group also, and they shall select a speaker whose title shall be chief. Let the business within the colony be divided into as many departments as there are groups, one to each other. But let the small united business of the colony in its relations to the world and to sister colonies be in the care of the sea chief and the other chiefs. Now behold, in the kingdoms of heaven, when a matter is announced requiring the holy council's action, each and all the members who desire speak thereon, giving their highest light. And after that the chief giveth his highest light, which is the decree. So let it be with us. And it shall be discovered in a short time who is the highest light, not only of each group, but of all the groups. And whosoever is chief shall be held responsible for the errors or shortness of his group, and whosoever is chief shall be held responsible for the shortness or errors of the whole colony as such. Who then, knowing that what is bound on earth is also bound in heaven, is willing to bind himself unto these heavenly laws for the sake of Jehovah's kingdom on earth? When Tay asked this, the whole of the multitude answered in Jehovah's name, I bind myself in this also. Tay said then in Jehovah's name, repeat after me. In the name of Jehovah, I bind myself to the sea chief's decree, and I bind myself to the chief's decree also, and I bind myself in the brotherhood of groups. When they had thus repeated the words of brotherhood, Tay said, let the host form in a circle facing the center. When they were thus formed, Tay went round the circle on the inside, going with the sun, shaking hands with each one as he passed, saying, welcome, my brother, sister, in the brotherhood of faiths. With thee I covenant to be thy equal and obedient servant, to whom I wed myself both in this world and in the next, for the resurrection of man and establishing of Jehovah's kingdom with mortals. Then after Tay, the next one on his left went round the circle also, shaking hands and repeating the marriage words of the brotherhood. And so on they went until all of them had completed the covenant of the brotherhood. Tay said, I salute you all under the sign Jehovah's name. And they answered by his instruction in the sign many in one. The voice spake through Tay, saying, whoever hereafter shall join my kingdom, shall repeat my covenant and the covenant of my brother before the sea chief and the chiefs and before my chosen, in the manner ye have done before me and my holy ghosts. Founding the groups. The light of Jehovah being upon Tay, he said, let the examples of Uz be not lost upon you. But where ye have learned and what ye have acquired, these shall ye appropriate wisely in Shalom. For such purpose, it is wise that we appoint our groups as now required, to be added unto afterward with more required. How say ye then shall we appoint groups this day? Thereupon different persons spake, and the sum of their wisdom was that there should be a group of architects, a group of clothiers, a group of dietitians, a group of engineers, a group of manufacturers, a group of horticulturists, a group of agriculturists, a group of botanists, a group of nurses, a group of physicians, a group of artists, sculpture, painting, and gardening, a group of musicians, and these were all the groups required at the time. Accordingly, Tay proclaimed them and called volunteers for each and every group. And these were filled, though, because they were but 52 members. Some of them took membership in 2 or 3 groups, so that all were filled. The light still being upon Tay, he said, since ye have made the groups, let each group now select a chief. Now many of them spake up, saying, I neither wish fame for being a chief, nor do I wish the responsibility of the position. Tay said, suffer me then to declare the light that is upon me, which is that ye are here to fulfill whatsoever Jehovah may put upon you, with all your wisdom and strength. Whether ye be made chiefs or not made chiefs, it is Jehovah's work ye are here to fulfill, without any regard as your personal selves. To covenant chieftainship would be selfish. To refuse chieftainship would be selfish. We cannot found the Father's kingdom with any other member than such as just as say, with all their hearts and mind and soul, whatsoever thou puttest upon me, O Jehovah, that will I do with all my wisdom and strength. To have faith in this way is to have faith with practice. Such a one is a faithless in fact. Now those who have spoken before relented, saying, O Jehovah, what have I done? Behold, I tripped myself up even in the start. Make this a rebuke to me, O Father, and heap thou upon me whatsoever thou wilt. Tay said, what any one can do, it is well done. Wherein he faileth because of incapacity, behold, it is not his fault, but his misfortune. So it came to pass, chiefs were selected for every group, men and women. And Tay was made sea chief, and so Tay delivered to each of the chiefs a synopsis of his duties. To the chief of architecture, Tay said, thy duties shall be one with thy group, and what I say to thee shall apply to them also. Thou shalt not only build houses for Shalom, providing them comfortably with rooms and with wholesome conveniences, but thou shalt teach our adopted infants by models and otherwise the art and sciences of agriculture. At a very early age, thou shalt explain to them by blocks and with tools the science and measurements of architecture, as to the names and kinds thereof, to the place and use of braces, beams, and roofs. Moreover, as soon as they are capable of holding a pencil, thou shalt teach them to make drafts of houses and the parts thereof. And when they are old enough to handle tools, they shall teach them to make models of houses and estimate the strength of the parts required. To the chief of clothers, Tay said, the duties shall be one with thy group, and what I say to thee is to them also. Thou shalt not only provide clothing for Shalom in wisdom as to comfort, pattern, and beauty, but thou shalt prepare the way to teach these, our adopted infants, the art and workmanship of clothing, the human form in the way most conducive to health and comfort. At an early age, thou shalt teach them the art of sewing and cutting, providing for them models in human form so they can learn everything from a hat to a shoe. as to the material used, the strength required, and how to determine the same. To the chief of dietitians, Tay said, thou and thy group shall be one. What I say to thee is to them also. Thou shalt determine the provided diet for Shalom as the best herbivorous foods and how to prepare them and how to preserve such and shall be kept over. In this matter thou shalt determine and explain the constituent parts of the human body and shalt find and provide herbivorous elements adapted to development and purity, so that the best and strongest and healthiest of men and women may be made out of these, our adopted infants. Neither shalt thou follow whims or fancies, but thou shalt support thyself by facts collected from the different nations of the earth. And in the preparation of food thou shalt teach these infants the art and properties of all things pertaining to food and diet, and explain to them the bloodthirsty character of carnivorous animals and carnivorous people, giving them facts and figures, so that in all thou teachest them, they shall be learned wisely and not in conceit merely. Thus spake Tay to all the chiefs, explaining to them their parts. And after he had finished with them individually, then he spake to them collectively, saying, the greatest of all learning is to learn how to live in the best way, that we may be happy here and after. There is no other learning so important as this. To man, Jehovah provide neither wool nor hair nor feathers to cover his body, and yet he created him too tender to live without covering. In sexual relation, man and woman alone of all the animal world can be taught shame. Whatever dress attracteth the least thought to sex is the most modest dress. Whatever dress giveth the fullest, best development to all parties of the body, and adaptation to comfort for the seasons, is the best dressed. Next to the dress in diet, as to what is best to eat for the best, healthiest corporal man, and the best for the wisest, holiest spiritual man, is the best diet. And yet to produce these and prepare them unto man's service, many trades and sciences have been developed on the earth. Now behold, in this day Jehovah hath provided amply unto us. He hath opened up unto us the nations of the earth, where we can go and witness many things, especially as to the habits and dispositions of man, as to his mode of life, in food and clothes and houses. Now behold, ye have taken a great work upon yourselves, which is to raise up these little ones according to your highest light. Ye have bound yourselves to follow your own highest light, and ye know that all light is progressive. Ye cannot settle down saying, I know enough, but ye are bound to investigate. And how can ye do this without acquainting yourselves with that hath been proved amongst other peoples? In some countries, infants are whipped for crying. In other countries, they are held up by the heels. And in some other countries, infants cry not at all. The chief of nurses shall discover these facts and appropriate them. In like manner shall every chief take his part and develop the highest proven and possible standard. As much as ye thus fulfill your places, so shall be your satisfaction and happiness afterward. As much as ye neglect your parts, so ye censure and accuse yourselves afterward. As faithless ye accept all people as angels, mortals, and simply undelivered. As mortals are in an embryonic state, preparing for birth, commonly called death. Heaven is now and is near, even within all who will accept it. In early age, infants can be taught that to serve Jehovah bringeth happiness, to serve mortal inspirations and surroundings, Satan bringeth unhappiness. Therefore, though ye teach our infants about diet and architecture and clothing, all other things, ye will still be little improvement on earths, save ye teach them that the chief aim of life should be to develop the spiritual man that is within. By the system of education in Shalom, there shall be two branches, one relating to corporal things and one spiritual things. Tay said, behold, the Urzans have schools, and they teach their young by and in books, but they but their youth are thus educated as to their brains. Their hands are useless for providing food and clothes and habitations. Education is regarded to corporeal things, much embrace in manipulation and handling of corporeal things for useful purposes. And foremost of all problems is how to provide the necessities of life with one's own hands, that he may not be rendered as dependent on others. This shall be one of the first problems ye shall make our infants understand. Young children not only ask questions, but they desire illustrations. With the privilege of trying to do something themselves, their questions must be answered by their own nurses and teachers. It is not sufficient unto Jehovah's requirements of you that ye put off his children with evasive answers or with incomprehensible explanations. Education must be accompanied with practice. As, for example, ye show the child certain seeds, explaining what will grow therefrom, ye shall plant and illustrate. And when the vine hath come up out of the ground, ye shall not only illustrate its corporeality, but shall display the life therein as a manifestation of Jehovah's presence. To simply teach a child the botany without reference to the spirituality that underlieth all living things would have little effect in turning the child's thoughts to its own life and growth in spirit. At an early age, these infants shall be thus put to work in gratification of their own desires to do something, and their work shall be educational, corporeal, and spiritually. And when they are large enough to handle tools, they shall be permitted to work at trades or in art, and full and sufficient explanation shall be given to all their questions. And this shall come to pass in Shalom without tiresome study and without tiresome labor. These infants at 14 years shall be wiser and better learned than Urzans at 20. For they shall not be limited to one trade each, or one occupation each, but to a great extent all of them shall know all trades and occupations. For botany they shall have a garden, for astronomy an observatory, for chemistry a laboratory, for clothing a factory, for horticulture and agriculture they shall have orchards, fields, and gardens. Such then shall be the method of teaching our infants. Now, as Jehovah and his creations in magnitude and perfection, they shall be ever kept before the child's mind to exalt its gratitude and admiration and to make it rejoice in its own life. For there is not in all the philosophies in all the world therewith to restrain the private life and habits from service vice, save through belief in Jehovah's eye being ever upon us. Nevertheless, a child that is raised up without learning angel communion is but half raised. By the actual presence of angels and by children seeing them and conversing with them, the proximity of heaven to earth becometh firmly established in the child's mind, and it beholdeth the fitness of one world to the other, for which education the infant shall at any early age be made familiar with the unseen world by training in the crescent, and their teachers shall try them to discover Suis and Sargris in them, and finding these talents shall cultivate them in righteousness and wisdom for the glory of the Father. And it shall come to pass that many of these infants shall not only see without their corporal eyes and hear without their corporal ears, but they will obtain to adaptism. And the angels of heaven shall descend amongst us, appearing so as to be seen, and talking with us so as to be heard. And because of such exceeding great light amongst us, no one shall practice deception, for the minds and souls of all shall become as an open book. These are the promise Jehovah had given us. By the signs of the times, they are proven probable. Through faith in him, we shall make these things true. In faith, he will bless you. Now, whilst the organization of Shalom had been going on, Tay and his hosts interspersed the same in laboring some in building houses, some in digging and planting, and others in clearing the ground for stones and rubbish, while the women were busy with the infants. And it so happened that amongst the host, Jehovah had provided a goodly number of musicians, players, and singers who furnished spiritual entertainment in response to the prayers and sermons of such a sophisticated and supplemented the Almighty. In addition to these occupations, the groups were cast into responsible positions for the future, so that the members of all groups found it necessary to begin and pursue a special line of education themselves, so as to become teachers. Consequently, each group became as a school in its specialty, for whoso had taken it upon himself to live and practice his highest light was bound also to emit an increase of light. Jehovah hath said, two conditions have I placed before all men, ascension and declension. Let no man stand still, for so I did not create him. Such as will not ascend will be in declination. Such as desire not declination, let them not stand still. And I have given to my gods and lords of heaven and to wise men on earth knowledge to provide unto the multitude something to do constantly, that Satan mischief may not enter in amongst them to their injury. Tay said, now is Cosmon. Men and women know of their own knowledge a way to provide unto self-development in wisdom, virtue, truth, and affiliation. And it was so, the host of Shalom had been chosen and provided by Jehovah as an example of self-purifiers and self-instructors for founding his kingdom on earth. Jehovah hath said in Cosmon, purification shall not come by baptism with either water or fire, but each one shall turn his thoughts inward to himself, becoming a constant magistrate, sitting in judgment upon himself as to his thoughts, works, and behavior, to perfect himself in his part in the family of my kingdom is my new commandment unto my chosen. For no man perfecteth himself unto full requirement, while he leaveth undone that which he might have done. After a while, Tay and his host divided and appropriated the hours of the day, so many to labor, so many to rest, so many to study, thus to one thing and another, that the groups might be orderly. Nevertheless, an entire freedom was given to all the members to come and go, to labor or rest as they might elect. Now it is so happened that more than half of the people were celibates, and they reasoned and said, inquiring, is it not better that the teachers and nurses be celibates? And this question extended throughout the colony, so it became necessary to determine which should be. And though the question was not weighty of itself, yet in order to provide an understanding for similar questions, the chiefs of the nurses and the chiefs of the teachers appealed to Tay, who was the chief. And the light of Jehovah came upon Tay and said unto them, did either one shirk from service, it would be plain what should be judged for righteousness' sake. But because ye are ambitious to do good work, which is tedious, with many trials, ye all deserve great honor. Because ye are ambitious to serve the Father by serving these little ones, your aspirations are noble. Because ye are willing to yield to one another any preference, ye are an example of holiness. The question ye have asked, which is simply, who can be the highest, best teacher of an orphan child, a celibate who has never raised a child, or a married person who hath raised a child, is not a question, therefore, of self-interest or self-gratification, but one of knowledge. If I decide this matter, behold, it would be simply one man's decision. Why should I make myself responsible in a matter that can be determined by yourselves? Take ye therefore sufficient time to inquire as the facts that have been demonstrated. Go find of married people who have raised up children of their own in the right way, and number their proportion to those who have raised up their kids in the wrong way. The chiefs took the matter in the hand, and they not only examined those in Shalom, but hundreds of families of Ursans, And again, they came before Tay to report. And this was a sum of their report, namely, everyone accuseth all others, that no married people have raised up their children in the right way, and yet each one accrediteth himself as having raised his own in nearly the right way. They asked, but how found ye the children they had raised? They answered, they were all raised in the wrong way, though they were good enough in their own parents' eyes, yet to others they were far short of the mark of either wisdom or righteousness. Tay said, why then, since those who have raised children have been failures, ye shall surely not choose them. The celibates have made no failures, for they have not tried. Let this then be our rule and guide, since every mortal life shall be made ripe with experience in all things, and since celibates have no children of their own, and since these children are orphans and castaways, let it be testimony that Jehovah hath thus provided the celibates as substitutes for the natural parents. So let the nurses and teachers in their youngest infancy be celibates, and this was carried out in practice. Jehovah prospered Shalom in every way, more than had been possible to any other people in all the world. Whilst the nurses and teachers were providing for the infants, the rest of the people were providing habitations, factories, and educational workshops, and also tilling the ground and ornamenting it with fields, gardens, and orchards, and with walks and terraces. In regard to the houses, the temples of Jehovah, the temple of Apollo, and the gymnasium were the most important, and yet none of these were like unto the building of the ancients. Jehovah had said, behold, the ancients build their temples so durable that succeeding generations forgot the art of building. Better it is for man's talent to remain than for stones and pillars of iron. For which reason in Cosmon thou shalt not build imperishably incorporeal things, but rather leave the way open for succeeding generations to build also. The temple of Jehovah, which was devoted to public worship on every seventh day of the week, was provided with fountains in the northeast and the southwest, with the four corners with their four lights of the square and the four dark corners of evil temptations, and with the throne of light in the east, with time bells, a gao, however you pronounce that, and sacred wheel. The ceiling represented the stars and planets interblended with plateau of the heavenly kingdoms. The east was adorned with the rising sun, the south with the sun at noon, and the west with the setting sun. The north was adorned with the pole star and aurora borealis. The belt of the zodiac, colored in cream yellow, crossed over the ceiling and faded down the east and west walls. On the south wall was the coil and travel of the great serpent, the son of Phalanx, from the time of the Archabon of Moses, Calliope, and Sheen, down to the Ark of Cosmon in the Etherian heavens. Flags of golden colors were provided for the four lights and were mounted on silver corded staffs, inclining toward the altar of the covenant, and thus was in the place Tay stood, betwixt the crest and horns, when they had on the first day made the covenant. And in the place of the crescent, where the 51 stood, they laid a stone crescent provided with seats and gateways for successive affiliations to Jehovah's kingdom. The outside of the temple was of wood and was surrounded by posts made of native trees, surmounted with roof of cement. When the temple was completed, Tay said, who but gods could have made anything so beautiful with such cheap material? And if it perishes in 2 generations, 2 things man shall gain. The 3rd generation can build another, and moreover, we shall not have left a temple on earth that will call us back from the higher heavens for more than 2 generations of time to look after mortals who might applaud us. In regard to worship in the temple, Jehovah had said, as in olden times, I provide a preacher to stand at the altar in the east and speak unto the multitude. Behold, in Cosmon, the multitude shall render an account before my altar of their fulfillment, of my commandments, and my sea chief shall respond in my name. And such indeed it was. Instead of a preacher denouncing people for their sins, it was a place where the people returned thanks and praise to Jehovah, with rejoicing in anthems and songs of praise, with pleadings in Jehovah's name for the Urzans to learn the lessons of the new kingdom. And it came to pass that Urzans did come, and it listened and looked on and examined, saying, inquiring, why was not this tried before, a people without a leader? And whilst they pondered, they looked upon the meadows and lawns, the orchards and the hothouse, and the rich growing field, saying, is not this the garden of paradise? The temple of Apollo was devoted to music, dancing, calisthenics, initiative processions, rites, and ceremonies of amusement. The interior was furnished illustrative of proportions and figures of symmetry and beauty. The decorations illustrated attitudes, postings, and groupings. On the east summit was a figurative illustration of the god Apollo with his heavenly hosts descending to the earth, looking at the group of droogs, ill-formed mortals with long arms who were squatting at their haunches. Apollo was illustrating a well-formed model as an angel, how the droogs of earth were to be changed into shapelessness and beauty. In its external structure, the Temple of Apollo illustrated a combination of 1,000 designs of architecture, arches, curves, columns, pillars, and so on. And yet all of this was made of the forest trees of Shalom and without cost. Next to these were the gymnasium, which contained also 2 swimming baths and 100 single bathrooms. Here were all kinds of places for developing muscular action with swinging ropes to walk, places for leaping, places for tumbling and climbing. This was under the charge of the group of physicians. The Temple of Apollo was under the charge of the group of musicians. The Temple of Jehovah was under the charge of the sea chief and his group of chiefs. Besides these were the house of architecture, the house of mechanics, the house of horticulture, which adjoined the hothouses on the north and west. Here were grown all kinds of fruit and herbs for food, and many beautiful flowers, rich growing all year round. Then the agriculture house, then the factories for hats, clothing, shoes, cutlery, and in fact, all conceivable places required by man. And not the least interesting of all was the house of the nurseries. Here were the heart and kernel of the whole colony, the orphans and castaways gathered up from amongst the Urzans. Now, from the first of the habitation of Shalom, the voice had consistently urged Tay and S to make continual additions of infants to the colony. The voice had said, give thy people plenty to do. Keep the nurses busy, give them little to mourn for coming out of Egypt. Keep them at work, keep them in the rites and ceremonies. Then Tay and said to S, take thou one of the women with thee, and go back to Urs, gather in more infants, and that ye may be known and respected by the Urzans as to your occupation, go in plain black dress with oddity, and I will give to each of you wooden triangle, which shall be suspended on your bosoms by a cord over the neck, for this is the symbol of earth, sky, and spirit, the 3 entities which constitute the universe, embracing emblematic of Jehovah. So S took Hamaras, a young woman of however you pronounce these stupid words, and went back to Urs, and in the cities gathered an infant waifs and brought them to Shalom. And thus every year they brought from 20 to 50 additional infants and adopted them in the nurseries, so that in not many years there were more than 1,000 orphans in the colony. It so happened in the 2nd year of Shalom that a disease came amongst the cows, and the physicians forbade the babes being fed on their milk. So for some days they were in straits as to how to support the infants till other milk could be supplied. And one Abaeth, an elderly woman, said unto them, why worry yourselves? Behold, the corn is an ear. Go gather it and press out the milk and cook it. and give to the babes, for this also is good milk. So they gathered the corn and scraped it and pressed out the milk, which, on being boiled at a little, was found to be excellent food for infants. Thus was discovered artificial milk, even as it is bottled and sold to this day. And the chemists also made water extracts from slippery elm bark and from flaxseed, combined with rice milk, and this also made an excellent liquid food for infants. Jehovah has said, whether flesh or milk or cheese, and man useth for food, behold, in the herbs and plants and trees I created, I gave the same things. Let man discover them and understand the fruit of my inventions. I'm going to leave this here, guys. It is getting late by me. As I have no place to put things. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within, be the soldier, be the lighthouse, sprinkle and seed your truths, light that path forward, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. I should be live on Friday, and hopefully if things are, I'll get another reading out tomorrow, but life is bananas, and I'm just going with the flow and trying to be the flow, which is a little hard right now. But until next time, guys, have a blessed and beautiful night, and bye for now.